Welcome everyone to the Small Business Advocacy 101 webinar. We are so happy you're here. And I am Patty Cantrell. I am the Director of Outreach and Development for New Growth, which is a community development corporation in West Central Missouri. We are the host or the operator of the New Growth Women's Business Center, one of two rural women business centers hosting this event tonight. And the other one is the Missouri Women's Business Center based in mid-Missouri in Columbia, Missouri. You'll hear from the directors of those women's business centers here in a minute. What we'll do tonight is really get us started because there's a lot of work we can do and a lot of impact we can have as women businesses, rural businesses, diverse businesses, and making sure our public policy serves our needs. And I would like to start off with a great example. There are many examples, but this one was inspiring to me. In Ohio, this example I learned about. In Ohio, businesses do not pay any income tax on income up to $250,000. Who wins with that? It's the small, self-employed and startups that win with that. And who got that done? It was small businesses who told their stories, made their business life relevant to the people in their state houses, and they got it done. So they told their stories and teamed up. And that's what our women's business centers are working to do, is to just begin that effort in Missouri, where a lot of our rural and women-owned businesses just aren't showing up at the table. We want to help make that happen. And this is the first step in our Women's Business Advocacy Challenge to try and develop that. We want to support you in that. So they shared their business story and they changed their business world. And that's what we're up to. That's our big idea here. Let's share our business story and change our business world. And like I said, that's what we are up to. It's time for our women-owned businesses to be heard in Missouri. Again, we're glad you're here. Again, we're the Rural Women's Business Centers, and here's a map of where we operate. The Missouri Women's Business Center in blue, the New Growth Women's Business Center in orange. There are two other women's business centers in Missouri. They serve the cities of St. Louis and Kansas City, and we work together with them and other organizations such as the Small Business Development Centers in Missouri, all trying to work and make sure that we get people served. But what's great about Women's Business Center is that we are boots on the ground in your rural communities. We're not a website to go to, although we have those, and we're not doing everything virtually. We're going to meet with you in your town. And that's, we know, really important to small businesses. And that's what we think a really value add is for our women's business centers. These are just some data of work we've done together from both women's business centers all together in the last year. Capitalizing businesses, getting them ready to go to the bank and get that financing to get started. Training and one-on-one business planning classes. You guys are probably all familiar with the great services, and that's our pleasure and privilege to work with you. Now I want to introduce the directors of the Missouri Women's Business Center and New Growth Women's Business Center. They want to welcome you and tell you why this is so important and exciting to them. I'm going to start with Jamie Prenger of Missouri Women's Business Center.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jamie Prenger. I'm the Missouri Women's Business Center Director. We are located in Central Missouri. Our main office is in Columbia, but we cover 8 counties in Central Missouri. So all of those counties that touch Boone County there. And we are just so excited for this opportunity to partner with New Growth and to be a part of this new movement that we're going to make in Missouri. So we really want to help you to advocate for your small business, help you be able to get connected with the legislative, your policymakers, and just to kind of move forward with this so that we can make some impact on bills that are getting ready to be presented in the coming years. So again, thank you guys all for being here. We appreciate it.
Great. And while we're here, Kristen Sullivan, who also works with Missouri Women's Business Center, you want to just introduce yourself briefly?
Hi, everybody. I am the training and event coordinator here at Missouri Women's Business Center. I do everything that entails any type of trainings and events. And one of our biggest events that happens in November of every year is the Women Who Own It Awards.
Thanks, Kristen. And now Tiffany Frost, Director of the New Growth Women's Business Center.
Welcome, everybody. As she says, I'm Tiffany Frost, the New Growth Women's Business Center Director, and just really excited to help women in business advocate for themselves and for us so that we can continue to be there to assist as women become more empowered to speak for themselves. So excited you're on the call.
All right, thank you all. And we'll get started with our training here. This is the Small Business Advocacy 101 webinar, and what we'll cover today are three main areas. Why should women-owned businesses try advocacy now at this moment in time? And there's some really big reasons for that. And how you can be successful, lots of great tips along the lines there. And then what we can do now. We have some easy action steps, and that's what our Women's Business Advocacy Challenge is all about, for everybody to just try it this spring before the legislature's out of session mid-May. We can show up on that radar. So thank you for joining us, and we hope you stay with it through the next steps. Step one is this training, and why try advocacy now? We'll talk about what is advocacy, Missouri's entrepreneurship moment. This is a big happening right now, and how we can enter the conversation. What is advocacy? Advocacy is a conversation between you, a citizen, that the lawmaker, local, state, or federal works for, and their job is to develop public policy that affects the lives of citizens like yourself. And so sometimes I think, automatically think this is an adversarial conversation, but it's actually a conversation where you are a person from that district that they represent. And just like an employee or a colleague, they are a colleague of yours in the position to work with you to serve your needs. And again, the policymakers are those decision makers in government. They may be elected officials, but also people in the administration that work with the Department of Economic Development, Department of Education, and working with workforce. So there's a lot of people there who decide how things run, and they are very important people to get to know, that need to get to know us and what will help us as women-owned businesses. Again, conversation. And why try advocacy now? Another point is Missouri's entrepreneurship moment. Since the pandemic, during the pandemic, and even before the pandemic, Missouri recognized that it needed to do more to develop entrepreneurs and innovate Missouri's economy, because we have been in the middle and the back of the pack as far as states go, as just in terms of growth. And a lot of that, for many, many years, it was all about bigger businesses or attracting big factories to the state. But now there's a big emphasis on building up entrepreneurs. And in fact, this report, Catalyzing Innovation, was developed last year, and it really focuses on how we can do that. And that is in process right now. So we, by coming to the table, can make sure that our lawmakers and administrative officials understand that we're here and part of the broader system that those dollars and those policies can affect. The other point here is that that plan knows that Missouri needs to be more inclusive, and that's written into the plan. That means that Missouri needs to be serving many populations like women, like diverse and indigenous and other people in the community, and make sure, and rural people, that they get resources and attention that they haven't always gotten. So that's a recognized thing. So again, showing up at the table is what we need to do now. The other thing is that there's a lot of growth focus on what they call high potential, high growth firms. And that's businesses that can really grow and start bringing in dollars and selling outside of the state. And that's not always the restaurant that you may own in your small town. But those restaurants are very important to making sure that people that work at those big companies want to live in Missouri. So that is part of what we do as rural, small, and women-owned businesses, is provide essential goods and services, in addition to being a part of that pipeline of entrepreneurs that can develop those high growth businesses. So those are two big reasons we need to be on the radar. The other reason about why, and there's an entrepreneurship moment in Missouri, is that there are some historic investments happening now. There's this plan that we just described, and it's focused on inclusion and diversity, but also major programs and spending Missouri money coming to Missouri. One is regarding the state small business credit initiative. There's $95 million that has been sent to Missouri for that. And a lot of that is going to those high tech companies. And we want to make sure that the small rural businesses are in that pipeline and considered for the use of those dollars. There are other things in there, but that's an important reason we need to be at the table. There are other two big bunches of money, the infrastructure framework that came from the federal government and the Inflation Reduction Act. There's more to say about those, but that's, again, why advocate now?
Patty, can I
Go ahead.
interject for just a second? I just want to explain that in the state of Missouri, that Columbia, the city of Columbia, is still considered rural based on its population and things like that. So I don't want anyone to think that just because they are in a more metropolitan area that this excludes them, is what we're talking about. This, Columbia is still considered rural in their population. So.
Right, the smaller towns, and and that's a bigger town where we are. We have a lot of small towns, and I know you serve more small towns in your rural counties too. So exactly. I also want to mention that you all may have comments and questions, and we want to hear those. And down at the bottom is a Q&A tab that you can put questions into. You can also chat with each other and the presenters in the chat function. So please do that, and we'll definitely get to your questions at the end. The last point about why we enter the conversation, again, is women are really dynamic parts of the economy, starting more businesses than anyone else. 49% in 2021 versus 28% in 2019. Those are, that's again, that pipeline and the dynamic part of the economy. Also, there are studies that definitely show, all the data shows that rural entrepreneurship is highest. So because we have to figure out a way to make a living and employ ourselves in many cases in Missouri. So there's a tradition and a culture of entrepreneurship in rural areas. And again, in this high growth strategy that Missouri has, we do need to attract and keep talent, people who want to live in Missouri that may be developing these larger companies or working with them. And developing an attractive place to live really gets down to a lot of businesses that may not be exporting, but really are important to that equation. So that's many reasons why we should be at the table, why we need to enter that conversation of advocacy. And it's really about, what do you need? How would you benefit from some of these programs? And what does it mean to the state's economy and your community? All right, now want to go to, as we enter the conversation, what are some things we need to know and do and to be successful? Three main things are to know your government officials, and again, share your personal narrative, and follow up, be in touch. As far as knowing your government officials, one of the things is just get acquainted. Do you know who they are and how to find them? And that is, again, local, state, and federal. And I have a picture here that may not show that big, but this is one of the best pages for finding out information about our state lawmakers and state agencies. And you can look up your lawmaker, your your representative or your senator here. You can also, through that, go to their website. And as this list says, how have they voted on issues related to small business? So their websites will tell you what committees they're on and what things they're advancing. You can check votes on different things that you might be interested in at the Journal. Each house, the Missouri House of Representatives and Senate, have a journal that records all the votes. So you can do a little homework and understand, maybe if you're looking at a specific thing, how your lawmaker voted. what leadership positions do they hold? They may be on certain committees covering different topics, but they may be a leader on certain things that are important to you. And finally, what questions do you have for them? Because you know, whatever they're looking into and what you're interested in seeing, you can ask that question. But the main thing is saying hello. You don't have to go with a big issue. You don't have to have a conflict. You are just getting to know them and saying hi. That's a big start on that. But as you do contact them, researching ahead of time in those places like that, again, for state officials or even local or federal, and kind of understanding where they're coming from is also finding common ground, because that's always the best place to start a conversation. And again, that common ground we're proposing is the best future for Missouri by building entrepreneurs, especially these dynamic women entrepreneurs, adding important amenities in the state and being a pipeline of high growth businesses. And always, of course, mutual respect for your lawmaker and their respect for you. It's just a way to go. So we have a website there and we can send that to you too, but and we're willing and ready to do some of this work too, but that's a quick way to get some information so that you can be informed and ready to visit with someone knowing all those things. Sharing your personal narrative is ultimately what is really important, because lawmakers really want to and need to understand what's going on in their community and what you need to be successful or what might be standing in your way. This popped in my head before the webinar, and I don't know if some of you have ever watched the State of the Union address. The president or the governor will call out people in the audience that illustrate a certain policy that they're trying to do. And that's because those people's stories have made it to them and they understand what's going on and why it's important. So again, your personal narrative, just getting familiar with your local, state, and federal lawmakers so that when they come to town, you can say hi and they're like, I know you. You sent me a couple letters. You sent me a report about you guys getting an award. That's the kind of thing. Think of your lawmaker as your grandma in a way, because they want to know what's going on with you. And as you get to tell them what's going on with you, they're going to want to see you when they come to town and when you come and see them. And what is part of the narrative to share? All of you entrepreneurs out there are taking risks, you're following dreams, you're building assets for your community. And a lot of times that is just what you do. But if you think about it, I think these questions are really good ways to think about what inspired you to launch your business. We know that a lot of you that's how entrepreneurs work, is they fill a need. So you saw a need in your community and you're filling it, a need and an opportunity. And what is that product or service, and how does it serve your community, and how is it growing? And where are you going? What are your future goals? Those are important to know, that you are starting here, but this is where I'm headed. And that will often relate to those policies, those public policies that are relevant for you to be talking to a lawmaker about. And that gets into how they can support your success. Supporting your success, there's so many ways they can do that. And when it comes to visiting with them, we would propose that one of the ways they can support your success is supporting women's business centers, those boots on the ground that can help you build your business plan, get your financials in order so that you can get that loan, those sorts of things. Also, your economic developers in your community, helping you find locations to operate. There's just so many ways, and telling them how they can support your success is a really big part of that. Following up. So you've introduced yourself to a lawmaker. You have said hello and gotten on their radar. And as I mentioned, sending them follow-up information. The first thing is a thank you letter. Whether you visit with them in Jeff City or you see them in your town, following up and saying thank you for your time is just a really important way to stay in there and show appreciation, as well as to their staff, because a lot of times the staff is doing the heavy lifting and working with you. Of course, you want to share any information you've discussed or through the meeting. And then send updates about what's going on with you. And I do mean if you get an award or just send your business website, keep in touch, because they're going to want to know what's up with you. And as you do that, they will become familiar with you and think about calling you when they give an address about what they're doing for small businesses. And that means they're working with you. Schedule future calls and just keep following up. Those are just really important parts of being successful in advocacy. Anybody want to add anything? I know that just being known, we're doing this because state lawmaking is not all that familiar with women's business centers or a lot of your businesses on the ground. This is the first step in just making them aware that we are here, you are here, and that you don't have to have a problem. You don't have to have a big thing you need them to get done, but just letting them know that you're here and you look forward to how they can support small businesses. That's just an initial first step too. And our Women's Business Advocacy Challenge, that's how we're inviting you to give it a try now. And so joining this webinar is you've already taken a step to learn and connect and take next steps. That's step one in the challenge. Step two is to take action. And we are working to go to Jeff City on Tuesday next week. Some of you may be in the schedule to go with us, and we invite anybody else yet who might want to make us. And then take action is also from your home. We've talked about introducing yourself to a lawmaker, and that's what we would ask you also to consider doing yet this year before the lawmakers leave, is work with us to send them a letter, introducing yourself and advocating for more support for rural businesses and women-owned businesses, and however you want to put that. I'm going to mention a little bit more on that, and then Kristen Sullivan, who's been organizing our lobby day, she'll give us a little more detail of how that's going to work, and then we'll talk a little bit more about regional roundtables that we're planning. But as far as taking action from home, we have a letter that's kind of set up that you can customize. And we'll be getting that out to you and inviting more people to do that. And we can help you get that sent into your lawmaker. And again, we have a goal of quite a few people doing that in the next few weeks. So Take Action Lobby Day, you can let us know that you would like to participate in that. We'll show the web link right here, Small Biz Voice 2 at bit.ly. Just type that in and you can log in and say, I want to do that. And then we'll follow up with you with the letter and with going to Jefferson City on this Tuesday. Kristen, are you ready to talk? You can say no. Okay. Kristen's been doing a bang up job trying to chase down lawmakers and set up things, and she's got a great agenda for us.
See here, I'm pulling it up so I don't get anything wrong. So we're asking everybody to join us on April 11th. We're starting off our day, if you would arrive by 9 a.m. roughly at the Jefferson City Chamber of Commerce. That's going to be at 213 Adams Street. And you'll get that when you sign up. You will get, address links and stuff. Make sure everybody gets that. We're going to get settled, and then we're going to have a short welcome, and we have a presentation from workforce development, and then we'll take off and walk to the Capitol. It's just a few short miles over there, mostly downhill. And once we get to the Capitol, we have someone from the Lieutenant Governor's office is going to give us a brief walkthrough of the Capitol. And hopefully we run into a few people as we're doing that. We have quite a few women around 11 to 11:15 meeting us on the first floor rotunda stairs, which will be a photo opportunity. We have Mayor Turgeon, who is our Jefferson City Mayor till the 17th. And then we also, but she's also a small business owner in Cole County. We have Sherry Gallick and Maggie Nuremberg and a few other women legislators that will be meeting us. And we have sent a huge invite just to the women legislators, because they have a Missouri Women's Legislator Caucus actually within the Capitol, which is nice. And I've been speaking to a lot of staff for that. Once we are done with that photo opportunity, we will walk across the streets and enjoy some lunch from Eris Pizza. Lunch is provided to everyone that joins us, and then we'll wrap that up. We got about an hour or so for lunch. They have a great buffet with many options, salad bar, everything like that. We'll gather and head back to the Capitol. At 1 o'clock, we do have a room reserved down in the basement where either one of, we'll see who shows up. We're on several schedules. The thing is, if you've never been to the Capitol before, they are in session. Their session starts at 2 o'clock that day. So we're hoping with this 1 o'clock time, they'll be able to sneak down, visit with us, hear from us, learn what we're about, and then they can go back up and go into session. It gets really quiet on the ground floors when session starts, especially on the House and Senate side, which will be on that third floor rotunda. We'll be able to walk around and visit with other individuals, at least their staff, and give them our flyers and our materials of why we came there today and everything like that. Around 2:30, 3 o'clock, we're going to go back to the chamber, kind of just recollect ourselves, go over everything, have a small debriefing, and we're going to be finished for the day. So sounds like we have some promise of a few people coming down to meet with us. If not, I've spoken to other people that say, you know, swing on by our office. We're glad to meet you. So
Great. Thanks, Kristen, and thanks for organizing all that. And it's going to be.
I don't see any questions, but if anybody does, I will definitely put my contact information in the chat as well.
And as she said, we'll be sending everyone that information that have signed up, and come on out and sign up. And again, if you can't make it, it's coming right up. Please also join us in contacting your lawmaker in some way to let them know you're here. And again, that's what we're basically going to be doing in Jeff City, is just letting them know we're here, and that women businesses, rural businesses, are really a key part of the state strategy. And women business center is a very important resource. So the next step, we are wanting to gather people in our regions for regional roundtables, and that's step 3. Join forces at regional roundtables to celebrate women in business and discuss issues and opportunities with lawmakers. And again, we'll be looking to bring local lawmakers as well as state and maybe some federal lawmakers there. And your presence there and perspective, it will be really key. We're working on a date for that right now. It's in flux, but we'll be getting that out right away. But it will be probably early June. And so stay tuned for that. And again, we'll be contacting you about what's going on there, but bringing people together and in our communities and celebrating what we do as women businesses will be the focus of that. And we appreciate your help telling people about it, bringing people down and being there. And we may be asking some of you to tell your story at that event as well. And we have some great stories of clients at the Women's Business Center, ours and the Missouri Women's Business Center have worked with. It's really a big deal to go from, for example, this young woman on the flyer started at the farmer's market. She didn't, was ready to grow, but how to do it, and learned that actually adding some employees would really make her business boom. And it sure has. She now has a storefront and employees, and is really growing her products. We have others stories to tell, and that's part of what we're going to be doing too, is getting your story and advancing that for you. So we've talked tonight about, why try advocacy now, how you can be successful, and some of these easy action steps we can start with. And that's, again, what we're doing is just starting here and now to show up on the radar. And that's what the Women's Business Advocacy Challenge is about. Because when you share your business story, you can change your world. It's time for women-owned businesses to be heard, especially as the state focuses on inclusivity and entrepreneurship. We are a big part of that. We can do it. It just means telling your story and getting together. And that's, we're also thankful for support for this beginning effort from the Association of Women's Business Centers. A small grant through them from the Kaufman Foundation is allowing us to work together and put this together. And that's the beginning of joining forces so that we can do big things like they did in Ohio. It starts with your story and getting together, and we can advance things like that down the road. So again, the rural women's business centers are joining forces. We work with the urban women's business centers in St. Louis and Kansas City as well. And we're excited that you're here tonight and will be joining us in the Women's Business Challenge. We hope you enjoyed this and got good stuff out of it. We'll be recording and posting. It is recorded, and we'll be posting that so we can share that, but also welcome any questions and further conversation.
I had to step away. I heard the worst noise ever. So I would, if you're going to join us on that day, wear comfortable shoes. Not only is it it's not a far walk at all, mind you, but once you get into the Capitol, you have to remember that it's all concrete, like all the stairs and everything. They do have some elevators, very slow, old elevators. Also remember minimal stuff with us. If you are joining us, you do go through security. I still brought my purse with me last time just because I knew we had handouts and stuff, but I made sure all the nail clippers and all that kind of stuff was out of there. So just to let everyone know, we do go through security, and then we'll be able to get in and do our tour and stuff.
It's like going on a plane, right? Think about it. But you don't have to take off your shoes, do you?
No.
Well, and I want to share that you don't have to join us for the entire day. We would love to have you there. But if you can only attend for the morning portion or the afternoon portion, just let us know that. Go ahead and register. And, we'll just make those accommodations and work with your schedules as well.
We have some materials, that describe, as we have here, what we do as women's business centers and some success stories. And we'll be talking a little bit about, what we've shared here about why women entrepreneurs now, that fits into the state strategy. So we'll have that support material at the lobby day, but also throughout the project. Okay, well, thank you for joining us. We don't need to keep you all night, but it's 5:30, and I hope this has been a good half hour. And
oh, it looks like Anita wants to know where to register at.
Okay, for the lobby day, that is, I'll put it in the chat. Okay, and step 2 is, there we go. Oh, sorry, I typed it wrong. Here we go. Let me just double check. That should work. That's great. We have another person coming or writing a letter, signing up. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. I really apologize, you guys. I forgot what the deal is, but I'm going to type it one more time and I'll show the slide for this deal. Okay. Forgot the voice. Okay. Third time's the charm, and that is the link. bit.ly/smallbizvoice2. We'll follow up with an email to everybody that registered with that as well. Okay, I'll send that out right afterwards. Anything else? All right. So we can do it. This is great. Starts here and now, and maybe let's get some big things happening in the next few years. Thank you for telling your story and joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.